Hey guys, welcome. If this is your first time here, hello, my name is Jenna. If this is not your first time here, welcome back to the chaos. And it probably will be chaotic because I have both kids at home. But anyway, I have most of my face on except for blush and eyeshadow. I want to talk about an eyeshadow palette, but I don't know what sort of blush I'm going to use as well. So I'm basically just going to apply that last. So this is the palette that I am talking about. It's from a brand called Dieverune Cosmetics and it's in collaboration with S.Andromedae on Instagram. The palette itself is called Magnetic Mineralia. There were more items included in the whole collection. I believe there was a highlighter, an individual shadow, and that's my children in the background. And there was also like what is it called? Water activated liner. That took me way longer than it should have to remember. Anyway, but I only purchased the palette. That's upside down. I just purchased the palette and I was immediately drawn to this specifically because of the color story and it being unlike anything I own in my collection. But this is what the outside looks like. You will understand the color story a little bit better once I actually show you the inside of the palette, because all of these shades, like all of the colors on here, are reflected within the actual palette. So that is what the outside looks like. And then the inside looks like this. So this is unlike anything I have in my collection. I have a lot of like neutral palettes. I have probably like one other grungy sort of palettes in my collection. But I mean, that's a whole nother story. I can't even wear that palette because it creases on me so bad. So basically this is the darkest, like moodiest sort of color story that I have in my collection now. So I'll give you a close up. I have worn this palette a bunch of times already, so this isn't in any way, shape or form a first impressions. I already am very familiar with the formula. Let me just turn on that light behind me because it's looking a little bit weird. But Dieverune Cosmetics is an indie brand and they are in the US. However, Glaminatrix Cosmetics, which is an Australian indie brand, has started to sell some of Dieverune's products. So you can actually get this this palette on the Glaminatrix website. And Dieverune has actually announced that they are releasing, I think it's their first colourful palette, and I will be buying that too because it looks beautiful. But I'll be purchasing it via Glaminatrix's website because I'm in Australia and Glaminatrix is also in Australia, so the shipping will be a lot quicker. One thing I think that is worth noting with the shipping time, because I ordered this palette directly from Dieverune's website, it's obviously in the US, I'm in Australia, as I just mentioned. It did take a little while to get here. That's not the fault of Dieverune though. That is like USPS. It was almost 3 weeks by the time it actually got to me. Now, if you haven't purchased products from indie brands often or ever, one thing worth noting with just like indie brands as a whole, not specifically this one, is that you should expect a few days before they actually send out the product. So I think with this one, it was about 4 days that I waited between placing the order and it actually being essentially processed and sent to the post office. But that's not abnormal for indie brands because they are generally like a one-person show. It is usually one person or maybe 2 people that are basically sending these packages out. There's a lot more that goes into it behind the scenes from what I understand. So if you're ordering indie brands, which I would recommend because I find that their eyeshadows especially are just better quality, just allow more time for items to be like for your order to be processed, because it's not uncommon for indie brands to take a little bit longer. Once they're actually posted, they're generally the exact same. In this case, I don't know what was happening, but I was watching the tracking because I was very impatient and extremely excited about getting this palette. I was literally checking the tracking like multiple times a day, and it was just going from one post office to another post office to like some sort of distribution center and then somewhere else. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why? And then when it finally got pinged around everywhere and then it came to Australia, it got here relatively quickly. So all in all, I think it was over 2 weeks. Definitely over 2 weeks, because I was like, what the hell is going on with USPS? Like, why is it just being sent around everywhere? Anyway, I got it. This is the color story we are working with. The whole top row is more of like purpley sort of tones. It has this lighter sort of cool tone purple. This one, it's kind of in the viewfinder, it's looking less purple than it does in real life. It's actually quite a deep, like I guess eggplant sort of color. And then this has a purpley undertone to it as well. It's looking a little bit more, I guess, grey on screen. But yeah, this top row is more of purple shades. The middle row is more of like greeny tones. Obviously, we've got a shifty green here, a lighter, like brighter green, still bright but deeper green. This one also has like a greeny shift to it, and this has like the tiniest bit of, like, I wouldn't even say green, it's more like yellow, but just a touch of it, and you honestly can't even really tell once it's on the eye. And then the bottom row is more of like, I guess, like grayish sort of tone, so a deeper grey, a lighter grey. This shade here is really interesting because it's like a powdery blue, but it's so pretty. And I typically don't like shades like this, but this one, especially in the inner corner, is absolutely stunning. And just, it has glitter particles in it, but it's not chunky. It's a very smooth formula. Yeah, it's really, really nice. And then, yeah, this one's looking really, really grey on like in the viewfinder, but it's more of a pewter. It has like a tiny bit of brown to it, like almost like a clay color. Does that make sense? I don't know. Then we've got a black, which I probably won't really touch because I'm terrified of using black. And then this more grey, shifty shade. So some of these shades, especially like these three, this one, they look quite chunky in person, but when I actually, it's hard to describe, like they have a flakiness to them, but they're not chunky when you apply them to the lid. I guess like the flakiness, the shimmer particles all break up and they end up looking, focus on my hand, not on my face. They end up looking more metallic than they do like flaky. So yes, the shimmers are definitely the standouts in this palette. They are glorious. So beautiful. When it comes to the mattes in this palette, and I will show you because I'm obviously going to be putting this on my eyes, they are more of like the best way to describe it is they are a thin formula. So when you initially put them on, they're not super pigmented, which isn't a bad thing. Most indie brands that I have tried, the formula of the mattes is generally quite pigmented. Whereas with these ones, they're not as, they're more of a buildable formula rather than just like really punchy from the get-go. I think I will start with this one up here, this purpley shade. And I'm just going to apply that in basically like the outer corner. You do get a tiny little bit of kick up in the pan, which, I mean, I've tried much more powdery eyeshadows than that before, and I've not had any issues. So kick up in the pan is never going to be a real issue for me personally. So I'll zoom you in a tiny bit. So I'm just going to apply this just on the outer edge. Do you see what I mean by it's a thinner formula? It's not as intimidating and pigmented as, I mean, I would have expected it to be quite pigmented just by looking at that in the pan, but it's not. It's much more user-friendly than I was expecting, which I like that because I want to be able to use it. So I'm just going to pop that there and build it up a tiny bit like that. So I'm going to use this one here, and I'm going to pop that in the inner half, and then I might do the lighter green just in the inner corner and then blend them with that grey shade. We'll just see how we go. Oh man, I love this shade. Not with energy. There we go. I am still tapping off my brush more more from habit than anything else. It's not that I'm worried about it being super pigmented. Oh, look how nice those two shades like just go together. Ah, so nice. Okay, I'm going to take this grey, the one that I keep umming and ahhing about. I'm going to take that and I'm basically just going to blend that above these two and we'll see how we go. Oh, that's really nice actually. Yeah, it's very subtle, but it is a really nice tone. Who'd have thought I would love grey, right? But it's a really nice, I guess, like blending sort of shade. So I'm just going to bring up the purple and the green a little bit higher on this side because I think I was just a little bit scared and I didn't want to go high, but because I have hooded eyes, I need to. Yeah, that's better. I can actually see it with my eyes open now. So I'm going to do that on this side as well. Right, first I'm going to take that grey shade again and I'm just going to blend up here again. Just basically repeating what I already did. Very nice. Okay, now, smaller brush. And I'm going to take this shade here and I'm just going to pop that in here. Oh, do the same on that side. I am actually going to bring it. Oh my god, I say I have used this palette. I have actually used it. I'm impressed every time I use it. I'm just kind of tapping that up here a bit rather than right in the corner. Oh, I like that. I really like that. Cool. I'm going to bring that underneath the eye here as well. There we go. So that right one is just in the inner corner there. And then under the eye, I just want to take another, this is a little pencil brush. I'm taking that that initial shade I used, this one here, and I'm just, oh, I have a hair, an eyelash fell off. I'm just sort of tapping that. That's not tapping, Jenna, that's rubbing. I'm just popping that like right here, just to marry like the top and the bottom together nicely, so it's not like a really sharp difference. Like literally just in there, because then I'm going to blend it with a different shade. I'm going to take this one on that same pencil brush. That's quite a lot darker than I was meaning, but we've got to even it up on the other side. That's not even at all, Jenna. What are you doing? Even it up on the other side and then immediately do the wrong thing. Anyway, and then I've got this fluffy brush and I'm going to, I wonder if I could use, no, we're going to do the brighter purple, the lighter one, this one. And we're basically just going to blend that out a bit more. Cool, that's still quite dark there. Let me just try and blend that a bit more. Yeah, that's a bit better. Okay, and now I'm going to put this green again. I'm going to pop that there and blend it into that purple. I'm just going to add a little bit more of that lighter, like those purples, just to deepen that up a bit more. I'm basically using like a mix of this one and this one, just to kind of blend it into the upper a little bit more. Now I do want that top to be more dark. Now what I want is shimmer. I need some shimmer. I think what I'll do is I will attempt to swatch all of the shimmers on here and I'll show you what we're working with. This one here is one of my favorites. It's this one here, the top one. I don't know if you can see, oh yeah, so you can see the green sort of shift to like a purpley color. It's really, really pretty. It's a very thin formula and it's almost like a toppery sort of shade. Like you can barely even see that on my hand, right? It's more of the shift that you see. I've just built it up a little bit. So you can see the shift from the purple to the green, but it doesn't have much of a base color. It's more glitter particles that are showing you, that make up most of the color. None of these have shade names, by the way. I believe they put like shade numbers on the backs of the pans, because the pans are actually magnetic as well, just so that there was some sort of, I guess, identification for the shades. But Andromeda specifically said that they didn't want everything to have shade names. Next one is this one here. So this is more of like a bluey silver. That's what the finger swatch looks like. And then there, like that. So that has like, see how it shifts from like a deep silver or a grey to like a purpley purpley sort of shade. And then the next one is my favorite shade. This one here. And it is a little bit softer in the pan. So rather than swirling, because I'll show you what I did by swirling it, it can kind of pick up, a lot of the pick up a lot of the product. So I kind of like tap and rub a little bit. I don't know. It's just a bit softer, so I need to be a little bit more careful with it. I'll put this one down here. But this is my favorite shade because, oh, look at it. It's got a purple base. Look at that shift. But it shifts to green, as you can obviously see. I took my watch off, that's why I've got that weird indentation. But it is just, oh, I love this. This is the shade that I will just wear all over the lid, and I would just either not use any other shade with it, or I would just blend it with one of those purples. The next one is a similar sort of one. It feels a little bit rougher as well, so it's this one. It feels a little bit more like rough and I guess textured in the pan. And you can see like it's looking kind of chunky on there, but the more you blend it, the smoother it goes. That's like a antique bronze sort of shade. Very, very nice. So the next one is that like blue, silvery sort of one. And that is very thin, like the first one that I did that had little to no base. That feels very similar to that in the pan, but this definitely has more of like a base shade to it. It's got that like blue, icy blue, but then when you shift it, it almost disappears. So I guess maybe it doesn't have much of a base shade. I don't know how to explain it, but it's very, very nice. I think I'm going to put that over the green, just like in the very inner corner. And then the last shimmer is a chunkier sort of looking one as well. And it does feel kind of, I guess, chunky in the pan. So it's another one of those where you don't want to swirl, you just want to kind of tap, and it does go flaky on the hand, on the finger, but then as you blend it out, it smooths out, and that's very much like a silver shade. So I think what I'm going to do is just use this one, which is the first one I swatched, and that's the one that has it's more of a shift than an actual like base color, if that makes sense. And I'm literally just going to tap it in the middle where I've got that the join between the two matte shades, and then I'm basically just packing it on. Like, this is the finger I took the shade on, and then I'm just tapping with a clean, well, relatively clean finger, and then just repeating that on the other side. And then I'm going to take that bluey, icy blue color. I'm just going to take that on a brush, and I'm going to apply it just here.
I love you.
Like that. Oh, so nice. I'm going to put some mascara on, and then I will be back. I need to put blush on as well, so we'll do that also. I will be back. Alrighty, so that is my try on of the Magnetic Mineralia palette by Dieverune and Andromeda. All in all, I'm so happy with this palette. I really like the looks that I've created with this. And I find that This palette is more versatile than I first expected, because there are so many different like tones. Like you've got the top row of purples, the middle row of greens, and then the the bottom row of grays. If you just want to go really neutral and just stick to the grays and the black and stuff down here, then you can, or you can definitely use these two with more pops of color. I really like that because these are all very cool tone leaning. You can use the purples and the greens together and they're not going to clash at all. They actually complement each other quite well. And even though the formula of the mattes is a little bit more buildable and it's like a thinner sort of formula, that is not a bad thing. It doesn't do a disservice to the palette whatsoever. I think if anything, it makes it more user-friendly and less intimidating, especially for me personally, as somebody who hadn't used these types of tones before. I really love this palette. I'm so happy that I discovered the brand. I'm really happy that I discovered Andromeda. I think they have done a fantastic job with this collaboration. I really do. I love the cohesiveness of this palette. I think it's absolutely stunning. I just realized I didn't even tell you what the price was. Hold on. So it's $103 Australian dollars, which is expensive, obviously, but I think it's worth it. I honestly do. I think it is worth every cent, especially if this is the color story that you're into. Like if these are the shades that you really like and you will get a lot of use out of this, then yes, I definitely say that it is worth it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. If you have any more questions or anything like that, let me know. If you want to see me do any more looks with this palette, I have done a couple over on Instagram, so you can go and follow me over there and check out the looks that I did. But yeah, very, very happy with this. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Obviously, if you would like to see my face again. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.